In this lecture, I'm going to walk you through the various buttons and screens that you need to navigate in order to start a Camtasia recording. So of course you'll start out in the regular Camtasia software, and you're going to go up here and push this red button that says record the screen. And when you do that, this little pop-up is going to appear. And this is essentially your recorder controls. And you can see a couple of areas on there, and we've talked about this a bit before, but you have your select area, which includes full screen or custom dimensions for the screen size, and you have your recorded inputs, and that just determines whether you're going to use a webcam and where your audio is going to come from. So the first thing we're going to do is determine what area of your monitor or your computer screen you want to record, and that's in this first section here. Now I have a widescreen monitor, so I just put it on full screen, and that way it records the entire screen, and then I can save it in high definition later, and that basically gives you the most flexibility when working with the final product because you're recording everything that you can see on your screen. If you don't have a widescreen monitor, or you have another compelling reason to set up a custom size recording area, then you click on the custom button and you click this little white arrow here, and it'll give you a drop down list of different options that looks like this. And from here, really the only one that you would want to select would be 720p HD. That's the most commonly used setting for Udemy. And of all the options that will work well with Udemy's platform, it will give you the best resolution and the best image quality. So if you're not going to record full screen off of a widescreen monitor, then click on the 720p HD and it will set your screen area. Once you click on the 720p HD or the full screen option, you'll see little green and white flashing brackets that appear on your screen, and that's showing you where exactly Camtasia is recording the screen. So if you set it for 720p HD and you have a bigger screen than that, you'll notice that those little green and white flashing bracket shapes will be pushed in from the edge a little bit. So you just have to be really aware of that so that you're not thinking that you're recording part of your screen that's outside of those brackets, and then when you go to edit it after the fact, you have part of your screen cut off. That's one of the benefits of just recording at full screen. But again, if you have a smaller monitor, or it's not high definition, or not a widescreen monitor, then you may have to just go with the 720p and then just be very conscious and careful of what the recording area is, and make sure that whatever you want to be in the final lecture is within those brackets. So once you've selected your recording area, you go to the recorded inputs section to the right here, and you have to determine whether you want to use a webcam, which in this case we are definitely not using, and I never recommend using a webcam to record your lectures. If you're going to do a talking headshot, get a decent video camera or a quality phone that has a high definition lens on it. But for screencast lectures and courses, you just want to leave your webcam off because you're just recording what's on your computer screen. So then you go to your audio, and this is very important, probably the most critical part of this setup here. And it's really simple to do it right. So you just click on this white arrow and it'll give you a drop down again. And the drop down looks like this. And you can see the one that's selected at the top is my blue snowball microphone. So it's important before you start doing this that you have your microphone plugged in so that it will recognize your microphone. And it's also important to remember that it will usually default to your internal mic, which is the second one down. If you don't have your microphone plugged in, then the internal mic will be at the top, and it will definitely default to that. If you have your blue snowball microphone plugged in, then you just need to make double sure that it is listed on this drop down and that you have it selected with that little blue square. So once you have that selected, you can close out of the drop down, and I just do it by clicking over here on the top of the gray toolbar so that I don't accidentally change the settings on there once I have it set. And then you'll be back to the regular control panel again. And at this point you can actually test whether your microphone is working or not by speaking directly or loudly into the microphone, and this little white bar here will start to light up, and it's going to go from yellow to orange to red. And if you're speaking at a normal voice, it should be going from the yellow to orange level kind of into the middle line here. If there's something wrong with the input, you may be getting it shooting up into the red. That means you're too close to the mic or you're talking too loud, and you'll want to take this little blue arrow and adjust it down. But I have never had a situation where I had to do that, so usually you can just leave the default settings. But make sure the mic is working, and you can even tap on the mic a little bit if you have a hard time telling whether the sound is coming through your blue snowball microphone or your chosen microphone, or whether it's coming from your computer's microphone. Because there's nothing more disappointing than getting everything all set up and recording a 10-minute lecture and having it be just amazing, and then finding out that you didn't have your microphone of choice plugged in right or connected to the recording software correctly, and you find out that you've been actually recording off of your computer's crappy microphone, and basically your audio is ruined and you have to redo it. Just about everyone has done it at least once, some of us more than once, but it's really disheartening when it happens. So just double check that you're getting input from your mic and that you have the correct mic selected. Then once you're certain of that, you can go ahead and click the record button, and it will look like this. You'll get this little countdown in the middle of your screen, and I believe it starts at 3, 2, 1, and then it goes live. And notice it says press F10 to stop the recording. That's just a simple shortcut for when you're done with your recording to end the recording and then decide what you want to do with the recording. Don't start talking until this bar is finished counting down and you see this little screen pop up on the lower toolbar. That countdown pop-up will disappear, and you'll see that the Camtasia recorder down here says recording. So if that says recording, then you're live and you're good to go. You can start talking. Now if you click on this bar, this little pop-up will pop up, and this is your actual controls during your recording. So if you need to pause, if somebody knocks on your door in the middle of a recording and you don't want to lose what you've created already, you can just click pause. You can go hang out with them, take care of whatever you need to do, and come back and hit start again, and you'll be right where you left off. Granted, you'll have to come in and edit that section out later, but that's no big deal. Sometimes that's a lot easier than losing an entire recording and starting over. If you, for some reason, just hate the recording that you're working on, or you need to start over, you can click the delete button and it will just disappear. But be careful about using that button, because if you do for some reason want to save your recording, then do not click the delete button, because once you do that, it's gone. And then finally, when you're finished recording your lecture and you're happy with what you've got, you can either hit the F10 button and that will stop the recording and pull up your save options, or you can bring up this little pop-up again and you can push the stop button. They do the same thing. The F10 button is just a little bit smoother because you don't have to bring this pop-up into your video and then edit it out later. Also, always remember that if you're using these controls, for instance, if you do pause it during a video and you start it back up, make sure to minimize this bar so that it's not sitting there in the middle of your recording, because it will show up if you let it sit there. So be sure to minimize it down into the toolbar so that it's not getting in your way. And then finally, when you do hit the F10 button or the stop button to end your recording, you'll see this pop up. And when this screen pops up, it's also going to automatically start playing back your video for you. And I find this to be a little bit annoying because I don't actually want to just see the video play back. So I always just kind of ignore it, and I go over to these controls here and I decide what I'm going to do with it. Now, as far as I'm concerned, there are really only two options here. If you hate what you've got and you don't want to keep any part of it, click the delete button. If you're happy with what you have and you're ready to edit it and polish it to make it better, click the save and edit button. I've actually never used the produce button, but I believe that if you click that, it will just automatically produce a final video. And unless you're an anchor man or woman for a news station, the chances of there being nothing that needs editing in your video is very slim. So you'll always want to save and edit, even if it's just to adjust the volume a little bit or to trim things up at the beginning or the end of your video. So click save and edit, and then it will basically give you options for where you want to save your file. And I definitely recommend having a specific file. So in this case, I would create a file something like Camtasia screencast Udemy course, and then I would save that into that file so that I have the raw video, the raw footage saved on my computer so that I can go back to it at any time if for some reason I mess up the final video or I need to get some footage that I cut out or edited in the final video. So you'll save that, and then it will open it up right into Camtasia Studio, and it will load your video file right in here onto track 1, and you'll see it pop up in the video screen here, and you can start editing it.